Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing when I was on my journey, really. I found whenever I was in a sort of setting where I could just let go, it was usually in a worship setting or something at the time, I would find my hand just drawing this sign, and I'm like, what am I doing? And it was a bit weird. But I just sort of went with it because I was like, okay, I don't really care what anyone else thinks about it. I'm just going to go with it. And eventually it was like, okay, God began to show me that I was connecting, and he was unveiling sort of an understanding of where I was in the beginning, if you like, in the origin of my identity in God, then bringing that into the present and outworking that in the present to create the future. So, and that's a continual pathway that we draw from where we are in the sort of relationship with God, in the eternal now of that sort of intimacy with God, outwork that in the present, and that then will bring the future into place. Because, if I do that today, that's history. And I can today essentially establish the future for me tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be another day. I will get to tomorrow, but what I do today can be preparing for tomorrow out of what was. So what was, what is, and what will be. And he was showing me that this is some people talk about the end and the beginning of a circle, and they said, well, and the end of one thing is always the beginning of another, which is true. But actually, God said, no, it's not a circle. It is this sign of my eternal covenant with man, that we were predestined to return to face relationship. And that relationship will then enable us to outwork who we are in that state of being. So what was, what is, I can just be. And I learned, I was very active because I'm quite an active person. I like to do stuff, and I was very active in, well, what am I doing today and how am I outworking today? And it became more of a sort of, I'm doing a lot of stuff. But God brought me back from that place to say, it's not about what you're doing today, it's who you are today. It's your state of being has more impact in just what you do, because what you do can be out of a need or a desire or something which is not necessarily coming out of the heart of God. But if you're flowing from what was, and essentially is always is, because God is always in that eternal state, then that can actually mean I can be. So I started doing, and I eventually became someone that could be. And that was really a liberating thing, because it really meant, I only have to be in relationship with the Father, connected to his heart. And that will motivate me and inspire me to outwork his heart every day. But I don't have to be, what are we going to do today? What should I be doing today? And what do I need to do today? I just need to be me. Because if I am me, that will make room for the outworking of me in any situation. And I can therefore be much more relaxed and at peace and at rest, without always thinking, well, what should I be doing? And what is there to do? And God, what are you doing? It's like, it's a heart to heart sort of relationship, rather than, oh, I want a list of things I should be doing today. And God did give me a list of things in the beginning, because he took me where I was, but he didn't let me stay there. He didn't let me continue to, or what are we going to do today? Because one day he just stopped doing anything and just embraced me. And that was it. I was stuck there in an embrace, struggling really, because it's like, well, I'm not doing anything, but he was showing me that actually being in that oneness was way, way more important than what I thought I should do, because being enabled a flow rather than a duty or obligation or what I thought I should do. And just because I know how to do something doesn't mean I do it. And God has demonstrated that lots of times, in the, I know how to do certain things. And when certain things were happening, I would go to God and say, can I do something here? And he'd be like, no, it's all right. I got it covered. Someone else is doing something, and I actually then found and discovered who the people were who were doing it later on, which was great, because then I realized, yeah, those people, God was already at work in it. He didn't need me. But if he did ask me to do something, great, that will be good. But I know it will be coming out of because I'm feeling his heart about it. And actually sometimes feeling his heart about a situation, but not having any sort of sense that I should do something doesn't mean I have to be passive, because I can still be encouraging others who God does have to do it in a way, because in a sense, when we're connected in the spirit, because we're all one in the spirit, then my encouragement can help somebody else to feel secure in what they're doing. So, my heart would be not, oh, wish I was doing that, but actually, how can I help encourage whoever is doing that so that they are able to do that in, the way God will want them to do it. So my thoughts are always that way. I'm part of a whole, and God has got many, many different ways of doing things, and of course we can be doing things in the spirit without necessarily needing to know what we're doing cognitively. And, I'm doing that all the time. That's a state of being sort of multi-dimensional and doing things in many different places, doing many different things without the need to be there in a conscious way, because my spirit is there. All our spirits are seated in heavenly places with Christ. It's just we haven't learned mostly to engage it, but we're there. So our spirit has been active and is active, even if we're not aware of what we're doing. But we can become more aware as our soul and spirit begin to learn how to engage, until we don't need to. I can engage right now with wherever I might be doing something in the spirit realm, but most of the time I don't need to, because actually that gives me more time to be here in a way that enables me to be at peace and be at rest here and be a sort of demonstration of that, if you like, and to live it out and to have a more creational perspective to it. So I would be doing so much stuff in the spirit realm that the earthly realm, almost was of secondary importance. And God really showed me the value of this realm and living here and working here, who we are there, on earth as it is in heaven, in a way that made me much more connected to creation. I had more time to feel and sense what was going on around me. Whereas before I would be spending so much focus on what I was doing in heaven, almost, the earthly stuff seemed to be secondary important, but actually it is creation that's waiting for the revealing of the sons of God and is looking to be set free. And therefore there is a sort of aspect of our sonship which is very much looking at the restoration of how God intended things to be here. And I found that my having more of a relaxed way of living with the creation around me enabled me to tune into that more and feel more of that groan and sense what was going on. And sometimes even the earth groans at what we do to it and what we're doing to ourselves. And you tend to find physical things happen in the world when things happen people wise, and there's a disturbance, if you like, which we can bring peace into. We don't want natural disasters, so-called, to follow our human disasters. If we can bring peace into that, so that there isn't a reaction to it from the earth and from the planet that we live on. And there's a lot of stuff going on, as we were talking earlier, stuff in Sydney right now. Obviously we've got Israel, we've got Ukraine, we've got the Yemen, we've got Somalia, and various places where lots of things are happening that I believe as sons of God we have the ability to bring peace into. Even if there's not the external peace that's going on between people, we can reconcile that with the earth so that there's not an earthly reaction to what's happening. And I think that's really important, that we are peacemakers. Now, it would be great if we could bring peace into every environment, but certainly we can definitely bring a peace between the earth, the creation that we're in, and what is going on in a negative sense. If you enjoy these videos, would you please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe? It really does help. Thank you very much.